I think for me, one of the ways you can know that you are living the message of Jesus, that you are being the message of Jesus, is that people start to notice that about you. That when you talk about your life and you talk about how you order your time and order your money and order your relationships, you can't help but talk about how Jesus has changed those things. So it has less become a case for me of thinking about doing evangelism or how I get to talk about Jesus, and more that Jesus has so fundamentally hijacked my life that if someone asks me what I'm doing with my life, we can't avoid Jesus anymore. Sometimes I think some people feel like they can't work for change in the world if they're not an activist. One thing I say to everyone, whether they are lefty activist, uni student, or whether they are working in a corporate job, is that the last, the lost and the least are everywhere. And in every workplace you will find the socially awkward person who people don't want to hang out with. You will find the person with a bad attitude that no one wants to talk to. Mother Teresa said there are coal cutters everywhere if only we would have eyes to see them. And so there are places of desperation, of loneliness, of lostness everywhere in our society. And so I think it is not a case where we want those in maybe more apparently status quo professions to leave and go to the margins, but we want them to have eyes to see the margins wherever they are. I think part of the reason we find it hard to be the message in our society is that some of us have bought into the idea that it's a message nobody wants to hear. One of the things that really excites me is that we are no longer in a generation where people have heard the message and grown tired of it, or generally grown up feeling like it's been done to death. But I talk to people now who do not know what happened on Easter, and who don't know what happened at Christmas, and do not know the story at all. So I think there's a challenge for all of us that in being and declaring the message, to know that there's actually a bunch of hungry people out there who have never heard this before. And to me, that's incredibly exciting, that we get to start all over again. Our message to those who feel they've heard the Jesus story before, or heard this message before, is that perhaps they haven't heard it, or they've heard it but they haven't seen it lived. So rather than us as Christians being good citizens of society, instead we live fully into our identity as citizens of the kingdom. So we become people of powerful compassion, of ridiculous generosity, of just enormous heart and care for our neighbour, to the point where those who think they've heard it before start to wonder, maybe there's more to this than I thought, because it seems to be turning people's lives upside down.